Hey, good morning, everyone. It's 21 News Chief Meteorologist Eric Wilhelm. It's Monday morning, and now we're getting set for our winter storm. Now that the Thanksgiving holiday weekend is over, impactful winter weather is heading our way. It'll be a sizable storm. It's going to be pretty significant as far as impacts go on your travels later tonight and especially during the day Tuesday. Let's start out with the broad picture. This morning, the entire state of Ohio is either covered by a winter weather advisory or a winter storm warning. The winter storm warning is primarily, of course, for northern Ohio, and let me zoom in on our local area here. Included in the winter storm warning, Trumbull and Mercer counties. Whether you're under a winter storm warning or a winter weather advisory, I want you to plan for the same kind of impacts. Amounts ultimately are probably going to be highest in our northern viewing area, but even if you're watching from southern Mahoning County, Lawrence County, Columbiana County, this is still going to be impactful snow, certainly enough to shovel and plow and cause some disruptions later on tonight and heading into Tuesday. This is a look at a special satellite picture. It's called the water vapor imagery, showing the atmospheric moisture. It's also a good product to look at to pick out features in the upper levels of the atmosphere. We have two things to keep an eye on this morning, kind of on the playing field. We have one that is nearly overhead right now, an area of low pressure, and then we have kind of a secondary piece that's going to come down and make the bend around parts of the southeast and kind of capture our initial low pressure system and just become a doozy of an upper level low. You'll see that also on our modeling. There's that feature across the Midwest right here. Here's our current feature. These kind of become one later today. Notice we have more circles on the map now. This upper level low becomes really strong later on tonight, and that will supply enough cold air in the mid levels of the atmosphere and enough uplift as well. When these upper lows form, it tends to promote rising air in the atmosphere, and hence clouds and precipitation. All right, so let's talk about timing of precipitation. Now, today, during the daylight hours, no problems. It's not nice outside. It's going to be raining. It's cold, but roads will just be wet. I'm expecting just rain through the midday into the afternoon. May actually even get into a dry slot for a time late this afternoon, early this evening. I've stopped the clock here at sunset, right around 5 p.m. Not much going on. Maybe some drizzle, some mist, some murky weather, but the roads will be just fine going home from work. Actually, that little period where it doesn't do a whole lot may last a good chunk of the evening. I'm not expecting, according to this modeling and some other modeling as well, not expecting a changeover really to true impactful snow until probably around or after midnight in most spots. Stop the clock here at 12 a.m. Notice some of those darker blues are starting to get towards the state line. And so this is when the snow will start to become noticeable, and untreated surfaces will no doubt start to become slick as we head through the overnight. Now, it's not going to be instantaneous in most places. This is going to take a little while. The ground temperatures will be a little bit on the warm side, but it's also going to be the middle of the night, so that will promote the snow starting to stick more efficiently, certainly, than if this were happening during the daylight hours. So then your Tuesday morning commute, here's the simulated radar at 8 a.m. It's going to be snowing everywhere at varying intensity. It's not going to be heavy snow everywhere, but in some places, yeah, the snow is probably coming down at a pretty good clip. In other places, it'll be fairly light, and then what you see is what you get for a good chunk of the day. On Tuesday, it's just going to snow all day. All right, amounts. We put out our snow forecast Sunday afternoon, and not much has changed since then in our overall thinking. Here's a look at some of our major computer models. Each model indicated by a colored line here, and you'll notice, of course, the legend over here on this side of the screen, and notice most of our lines stop by Wednesday morning somewhere between here and here. So that's roughly between 3 and 6 inches. And that's for southern Trumbull County, northern Mahoning County. In other words, kind of the Warren to Youngstown corridor, kind of the heart of our television viewing area. So that is our current computer model spread. Here's a look at the snow map we put out yesterday and have not changed since. The bullseye is certainly going to be along I-90 and down I-71 from Cleveland down to Mansfield, and then along the lake shore and over into the primary snow belt of northeast Ohio and northwest PA. There's going to be places that get double-digit amounts of snow up there, perhaps even a 13, 14-inch dump of snow, maybe parts of northern Geauga County up towards Chardon, maybe just south of Erie over in northwest PA. Metro Cleveland, not going to be surprised if we have quite a few double-digit amounts that come in before all is said and done. Closer to home, here's a look at our television viewing area, focused in on that northern viewing area for probably the highest totals. I'm not going to be surprised once we look at some fresh models this morning if we expand this 5 to 7 area a little bit farther to the south, maybe down to about Youngstown, and it would probably get Hubbard and Girard and Niles. Not going to be surprised if we make that move. Not expecting a dramatic southward change here as far as the snow forecast. In other words, Columbiana County, I think you're pretty locked in right now to 3 to 5. And as I often say in the winter season, we give these ranges for a reason. The precision when it comes to snow forecast, even 12 to 24 hours out, we can't say your backyard's going to get 4.2 inches of snow. We have to give a range. And so 3 to 5 means just that. Some places will get closer to 3, some places will get closer to 5. And obviously, the closer you are to kind of this intersection of 3 to 5 and 5 to 7, your chances of being at the top end of that 3 to 5 range are higher. In other words, I kind of suspect we're closer to the 5 in Austintown and Youngstown and Hubbard and even down to Boardman and Canfield probably. But the farther south you are, away from that 5 to 7 zone, you might be closer to the lower end of the range, closer to this 3, once you get down towards Nagley and Rogers and West Point and Lisbon, and especially down towards East Liverpool, Glenmore, Calcutta, Laycroft, and then heading across 39 closer to Salineville, you're probably closer to the lower end of the range, but still, I wouldn't expect a lot of places down in southern Columbiana to be below this range by a fair amount. Some places might get 2 3/4, but I doubt at this point that our far southern viewing area does much worse than 3 inches, or much lower than 3 inches. So that's the way things look right now as far as the amounts go. Stay tuned for further changes. As far as impacts go, just plan on fairly major impacts, especially during the day. Tuesday, the clock times are up here, and I'll even kind of separate the days here. Here's roughly midnight tonight. Here's midnight tomorrow night. And so, snow's going to pick up in intensity overnight. Conditions on roads will deteriorate overnight and into the day tomorrow. The wind is going to be noticeable. Will it be a huge issue and cause a lot of drifts or anything like that? No. This is going to be a fairly wet snow. Not super wet, but also not super dry and powdery and easy to blow around. The liquid to snow ratios with this are going to be kind of near that classic 10 to 1. Sometimes when you get lake effect and cold snowstorms where it's in the 20s, you get ratios closer to 15 or even 18 to 1. This is going to be closer to 10 or 12 to 1. Decent snow to make snowballs, make a snowman with, but the kind of wind we're expecting will not be bad enough to cause a lot of drifting with these kind of wind speeds and the snow ratios being 10 to 1, 12 to 1, not super powdery, dusty snow. All right, so meteorologist Andrew DiPaolo has you covered from the studio this morning. I'll be in, of course, this afternoon and this evening on 21 News at 6 and 11. I'll have more updates online if we make any changes to the snow map. You can expect to see those, of course, on Facebook and on Twitter. Make sure you're checking your local forecast around the clock on the Storm Tracker 21 app. We'll have some videos on there. And, of course, if you tap on Daily down at the bottom, you'll get the details straight from our mouths, if you will. Very little, if any, computer model stuff on the app. It's all stuff that we think is going to happen. Experienced forecasters keeping you safe as we get through our first major winter event of this season. I'll see you later on. Enjoy the rest of your Monday.